Good afternoon, everybody. This is Russell Ross Nugent with OmegaCryptoConsultants.com and going to bring you my nightly video. Today's topic, how to transfer Tron TRX to your Ledger hardware wallet, should you have one. Before we get to that, just real quick, I'd like to take just a real quick look at the Bitcoin markets. Well, we're going to look at the crypto markets, and we can kind of get a sense of what that's doing just based on what Bitcoin's doing, as usual. And we can see here we're on a 4-hour chart, and we can see that we've been, a couple days ago we dropped through this $6,300 support, and now we're trading at 62.66 right here. And what I really need to see is we need a close above the 6,300 area right in here, and even more importantly, a solid close above this 60, we'll call it 6,400, right in this area somewhere. And then ultimately, we need to go back and retest this 67, which we rejected twice here and here. And again, I'll just point out that it's interesting to me that the equity futures markets closed on Friday. We can see this bar right here is where we had this drop at the close, right into the close on Friday afternoon. And since the CBOE and the CME Bitcoin futures have been closed, we've had a relatively quiet action, but you can see that we've rebounded from 61 back up to 62, 65 currently. So that's pretty interesting. And then it's nice to see we pretty much have green across the board here in crypto land, with the exception of Litecoin is down just fractionally. But any rate, so it'd be interesting to see what happens over the weekend before the equity markets open up again. With that said, here's an article: study finds cryptocurrency rebalance portfolios outperform hodling. And this company, Shrimpy Team, whoever they are, I didn't look into who they are, but so Shrimpy Team published a study that gives an informative technical analysis comparing two types of crypto investment methods, the rebalance versus hodling. And then if we scroll down, this is on bitcoin.com if you want to read the entire article. But at any rate, so they're saying that rebalancing beats hodling by a median of 64%. And then here we can read further, Shrimpy tested multiple portfolios with 2 to 10 assets each. 2 assets, sorry, but that's that's not, can you call 2 assets a portfolio? I guess you could call 1 asset a portfolio, I suppose, but I just don't know that that's gives you enough of a sample. I'm not even sure the 10 does, but any rate, so within the study, Shrimpy found that rebalancing outshined hodling in a few instances, which that's interesting wording, but whatever. So, and then down here we can read, the first relation is that increasing the number of assets increased the performance of a portfolio. Well, I suppose that could be true, but it could also not be true if you're depending on what assets you're choosing, right? The second relation is that decreasing the rebalance period, in other words, increasing the frequency of the rebalance, in other words, shuffling all the time, constantly shuffling, that increased the performance of a portfolio. Therefore, the ideal portfolio was rebalanced frequently and also contained numerous assets. So, and then it goes on, there's more stuff down here. So, but let's just talk about this for a second. We'll get to that in a minute. But so I think there's a few metrics. Maybe based on these metrics, assuming that you're picking the right assets, this would be true. They even have fancy charts here to back this up. But what they're not addressing is so every time you make a trade on an exchange, there's fees associated with moving that money around, that buy and that sell. There's the assumption that you get good fills. There's the assumption that nothing goes wrong while you're making all these frequent trades. In other words, that's making the assumption that you don't do something stupid and copy this and paste when you meant to paste over there, and then your money ends up off in la la land, which is virtually unretrievable. I mean, I've known people that have done that, and I've tried to help them go through and recover that money, and it's pretty difficult. So they're, in my opinion, they're not accounting for the risk and or the expense associated with making frequent trades, nor do they mention that at the end of the year, your tax accounting, assuming that you're paying taxes on your crypto, and I certainly hope you are. Otherwise, you're going to get hammered. But all those little trades, you're going to have to account for every little trade, every little profit, and you're going to get taxed and all that stuff. That is going to be an absolute nightmare. So, the question is, I mean, they're taking a very small snippet, in my opinion, of data and coming to these conclusions when there's many more variables and factors that could be and should be considered in terms of hodling versus this constant rebalancing that they're talking about. So, I don't know. I kind of take issue with this. Um, Personally, I'm a fan of hodling, keeping my powder dry and safe. And I mean, if I'm missing some short-term gains at the expense of keeping my stuff safe, keeping it offline, not having the tax nightmare, not having to stress out about constantly being, all the different reporting and all that stuff that'll come along later, I'm okay with that. So, and then here they kind of get to a different topic here. The cryptocurrency spend versus hodl debate is years old, but is being argued feverishly once again. For years, there has been a long debate on which form usage is better for long-term crypto adoption, and lately there's been a new wave of people bolstering the idea of spend and replace. And that's kind of what I've been bantering on about when I've been promoting going and supporting those that support us, shopping at Overstock, and some of the other retailers where we can, asking when you go into Burger King or whatever your favorite restaurant is or gas station or whatever, what cryptos they accept, to kind of prod them a little bit. Paying your bills, your monthly bills, with crypto. It's really easy to get one of like a shift card from Coinbase, or there's any number of ones, and you tie that to either Bitcoin or Ethereum or Litecoin or whatever you choose, and then you just use it like a Visa card and pay your bills. And so what I've been doing is, if my bills are due, say the 15th, say they're due tomorrow, tomorrow morning I'll get up and I'll transfer money from my from my bank, my fiat bank, excuse me, to Coinbase. And for instance, I'll buy Bitcoin, the amount of Bitcoin I need to pay my monthly bills. That's linked to my shift card. And then my shift card, I have set up on the bill paying sites where I need to go pay. And I just log into those sites, and then I can select either my debit card from my bank or my shift card. Well, I just select the shift card and I pay all my monthly bills, so that fiat currency is running. It's spending Bitcoin, it's supporting the shift card, it's supporting the space, and it's furthering the adoption. Even though it's not spending the Bitcoin directly, I'm still utilizing Bitcoin in that regard. Now, as far as my investment stuff goes, that stays on my ledger, and it's offline cold storage, and I don't touch that. So I'm hodling, but then as I need to buy something or pay bills, then that's when I'll buy. I'll go, like I said, I'll go and I'll buy that Bitcoin or Litecoin or Ethereum or whatever it is, because you can change it, and you can tie to any one of these cards. There's a number of cards, and you can tie whatever crypto asset to it that you would like. And if you load the card today and you pay your bills this afternoon, you have very little exposure to price movement. And I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer. And I certainly hope more of you guys are doing that. I suspect you are, and I appreciate you doing it. And I hope more people will do it. I'm sure they will. Anywho, so let's get on to the topic of the video, which is getting your Tron. If you're a Tron holder and you have it on an exchange, and you're also a Ledger owner, and you would like to get your Tron off the exchange on the ledger, I did this morning, and I found that the instructions, excuse me, on Ledger's website were, as usual, pretty confusing. And there's a very small thing that I overlooked that was not made clear, or maybe I'm just stupid, but it was not clear to me, and it caused me undue brain damage. And but I figured it out, and at the end of the day, it was fairly easy. And so I thought I would try to make it very simple for all my friends. So here we go. What we're looking at, this is the Tron network. If you just go to Google and Google Tron network or Tron, whatever, you'll get to this page. Okay, so, and then from here, if you click on the Explorer, I'm not going to do that because I already have the page open, but if you click on Explorer, it'll take you to this page. Okay, I'm going to go back for a second. If you click on Wallet, it will take you to all these different wallets. You're not going to use any of these. You do not use any of these wallets to access your Tron through your ledger. Okay, these are independent community developed wallets, but this is not what you want. All right. If you click on Explorer, you go here, and you have an option here to open a wallet. This is not what you're going to use either, because I already had a Tron wallet. I have a Tron wallet. If I log in here, I have a Tron wallet. I have a couple of them actually. If I log in here, I have another Tron wallet. Neither one of these are connected, or they're not, they're not linked to the Ledger Nano. So you're not doing any of that. Here's what you're going to do. First thing you need to do is go to ledgerwallet.com. You see this red arrow right here, right? Boom. Okay, so you want to go there. You guys probably seen this page. So if you don't have the Ledger Manager on your Ledger Nano, you need to download that to your desktop. You need to do that first, right? If you already have it, then open it up and update it, and you'll see that there's a bunch of new coins that have been added down towards the bottom. Tron is one of those. All right. So I had to open and close I already had this installed. I've had it for some time. But when I first opened it, Tron was not there. I closed it, went back into it fresh, opened it up again, and then boom, there it was. So you may have to do that too. I don't know. But anyway, so once you see the little Tron icon, you guys know what I'm talking about. When you open your Ledger Manager and you got the list of supported coins, and you scroll down the bottom, you see the Tron logo. You click that little green arrow. It's off to the right of the page over here. There's a green arrow, and then there's a delete button. You click the green arrow, and you probably need to watch your Ledger too, because it might ask you if you allow this to be installed, and you got to confirm that. Any rate, so you install the Tron application. Now, depending on how many applications you already have on your Ledger, you might have to uninstall an application first. I had to do that, and I uninstalled the one that was least important to me, which was Bitcoin Private. Sorry, Bitcoin Private, but in terms of money and risk and exposure, if there was one that I had to uninstall and go back and figure it out later, which I did, that's it. Anyway, so I got the Tron installed on my Ledger. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go to support.ledgerwallet.com right here. See that? Support.ledgerwallet.com. From there, you can if you just search for Tron, you should see this page, and you see that I opened the apps, and then I don't remember how I found the Tron. I think if you down here under other crypto assets, if you went down farther, down in here somewhere, you'll see the Tron. Click on that, and then you get this page. Or just go to the search bar and search for, Tron support, that kind of thing. Any rate, so once you have this page here, here's what was screwing me up. Is I thought that once I had so what was screwing me up is I assumed that I already had wallet here, and I already had a wallet here. More importantly, I had a wallet here. So I assumed that I could open this wallet and then there would be a way to link it to my Ledger Nano. That is incorrect. And that's what kept screwing me up, right? So let me get back over here. So what I was missing is you have to click this link, this Tron Scan Desktop. Okay, you click on that and it takes you to GitHub. And now in my case, I got the Windows. You might have a Mac or you maybe use Linux or whatever. But in my case, I need the Windows. So I downloaded that and installed it. And then I opened the folder and run the Tron exe program, and this is what you get. Now this looks very similar to this, right? Here's the difference, is that this program, this Tron exe program that you just downloaded off GitHub, has been optimized to run with the Ledger. That's the difference. Even though they look identical, they're different. Okay, so now that I figured that part out, then you step number one is open your Ledger, then open the Tron app, then go over here. Step number two is click the link up here in the upper right, open wallet right there. And I think I might have had to click it twice actually, but at any rate, so once you've opened your wallet, then you're going to get a box right here. It'll appear right here, and you choose Ledger. Now you also have the option to choose Trezor or private key, or I think there was a couple others, but I mean it's kind of down in the middle down here. You just choose Ledger if that's in fact what you're running. If you're running something different, then choose differently. But at any rate, so once you've done that, now you're good to go. So now you'll be able to transfer your Tron from an exchange to your Ledger. Now what I did is I transferred a very small amount off the exchange first, and it was virtually instantaneous, which is real cool. I mean, it took like a few seconds for it to process from the exchange, but the moment that it was completed on the exchange, it was in my Tron wallet. And then I transferred the balance in one lump sum, and boom, boom, simple, and I was done. So I hope I explained that clearly. If I didn't, or if you're following these instructions and you run into any issues, don't hesitate to call me, text me, email me, leave me a comment below, whatever you need to do, and I'll be more than happy to contact you and work with you and help you out to make sure it's done correctly. Okay, so now with that said, there's one other thing I will mention. So there's a new app manager. So in the old app manager, you have to go in, and if you want Bitcoin, you got to click that and then check your balance. And if you want Ethereum, you got to close that, go back in and open it up and click down here and then do that. And you have to do all of them independently, right? And it's a hassle, it's time consuming. So the new program looks like this, right? And so what you're going to do is you're going to go, so this is a completely separate thing. You don't have to do this today to get your Tron off the exchange onto your Ledger. I'm just pointing this out because the old Ledger app manager will be unsupported at some point in the relatively near future. And if you don't upgrade to this new system, you'll be forced to do it. And I would rather make these upgrades and have the latest software, which probably has security enhancements. You would assume, right? And to stay current as opposed to running outdated software. So, any rate, so this was, in order to get this working, this is a kind of a different thing. You start the download, right? And when the program first opens, it'll ask you a series of questions that are kind of self-explanatory. And so the first thing you're going to do is go to this where it says manager over here, and because you won't have any of your applications listed here. And so essentially what's going to happen is that you'll need to uninstall your old applications off of your Ledger Nano. Um, so basically, you're starting with it clean. Don't reformat it. Don't change any settings. Just go to the old ledger manager and um, and delete one program at a time. Close it out. Come over here, click on manager, and then re-add that program. Um, and basically what you're doing is like you, for instance, you uninstall Bitcoin off the using the old app manager, using the old legacy program. You uninstall, say Bitcoin, for instance. Come over here to manager, reinstall Bitcoin on your Ledger hardware wallet. Once you've done that, then you can add the account, right? Which you go down to this little button right here, right there. And so you add account right here, and then it'll take a minute. It'll sync up, and then your account will show here. Like you see, there's personal account, Ethereum, Dodge, and Pro account. But like in your case, it would say Bitcoin, and then it'll show your balance, and it shows your, whether you're up or down, and and there's other cool things you can do in here as well. You see that there's the sends, the receives, whatever. So a couple things you need to know. Not every program will show, even though you have it, it won't show on this screen. There's a fairly short list that shows on this screen. I hope they upgrade that later on. For instance, your Tron will not show down here. You still gonna, even once you've upgraded to this new program, you're still going to use the desktop program, which is here, this one that you got off GitHub, and you installed it, and it looks like this, which is now on your desktop. You're still going to use this desktop program coupled with your Ledger hardware wallet, plugged in, synced up, and that's how you'll access your Tron. So to be clear, it will not show down here. Stellar Lumens is another one that will not show down here. You'll still access it through the Stellar interface. And I'm sure there's many others that will be just the same, but you do get some of them down here. I just wish you'd get all of them down here. But at any rate, so if you have any questions about any of that, again, I'll be glad to help you out. And somewhere I read, and it was somewhere on Ledger site, and I should have saved it. But what they're calling these Ledger Legacy Chrome apps, they're going to be unsupported in the very near future. So this upgrade, I did this morning as well, and it was a bit of brain damage. It was a little bit time consuming, but at the end of the day, it went off without a hitch. Like I said, I get really wigged out when I have to start deleting apps off my Ledger. I just don't like doing it. And so instead of just deleting everything and reinstalling everything through this manager, I did it systematically. I logged into one, delete it, log out, come over here, log in, go to manager, reinstall, add the account, let it sync up, verify that my Bitcoin is there, log out, go back to the legacy program, uninstall another one, log out, come over here, log back in, go over here, add another asset, which we'll just say Ethereum. So then I add that program, and then I go back here, add the account, add Ethereum, let it sync, verify my Ethereum's there, and I just did it boom, 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 which may be overkill, but I would rather take the extra time and be safe. And I mean, if I'm going to have a problem with one asset, that's far better than having a problem with 10 assets, because you try to do it in a hurry and batch delete, batch load, and all that shit. Anyway, so I would recommend doing it slowly, methodically. Take your time, pay attention to what you're doing, make sure it's done correctly. And like I said, if you're just not sure about any of this, I will be glad to help you. So, any rate, with that said, got a couple free services here. If I can help you out with any of this stuff, feel free to call me, text me, email me. There's at least 100 ways you can get a hold of me, so please use one. You can also go to my website. You can click there or there, and it'll take you to a calendar. You can request a service, and just, we'll set it up. We'll set up the date, the time, and the who, what, when, where, why, and how, and we'll make it happen. With that said, not advice. Please like, please subscribe. And as always, I appreciate all my friends out in crypto land, and I'll be back tomorrow to bother you. Have a good night. Bye.